What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Two Game Podcast, where I am continuing my recap and review of Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's a brand new Paramount Plus TV show. It's a bridge series between Mutant Mayhem and the sequel that's going to come out in a couple of years. So I am reviewing and recapping episode number 3, Raph Thinks It Through. So the first 2 episodes, we have gotten episodes centered around Leonardo, and then episode 2, we have it centered around Michelangelo. Loving the series so far, and episode 3 just freaking continues it. I will say, humor-wise, I've been trying to keep y'all in the know on whether the humor's hitting in all these episodes, because, look, if anything, Ninja Turtles has always been something that they just always hit the comedy for me. And when I was watching Mutant Mayhem the first time, it didn't really hit for me. I never really laughed. But since rewatching it and then watching this series, the humor has gotten so much better. And then episode 3, it's a different style of humor compared to like episode 2. But I'm just going to go ahead and say it, guys. I think episode 1 is probably my least favorite out of the 3 so far. So in this episode, Raph, he gets pulled out of the water and wakes up on like this dirty ass beach, and the street gang, the Purple Dragons, find him and they essentially kidnap him. And eventually he loses consciousness because he broke like some ribs, and he ends up waking up and talking a lot with one of the bigger members of the Purple Dragons, and his name is Hun. And they're using this to juxtapose these two characters. Hun is the muscle of the group, and he has this brick, and he calls him Bricky, and which is so funny because Raph just absolutely just roasts Hun the entire episode, and it's so great because it's just pitch perfect Raph. He's just always going to tear other people down to kind of bring himself up. You know, he's always has that angsty bully mentality going on. And that's why I just love Raph so much, because he's just so different compared to the other 3 turtles. But what's so interesting about this episode so far is the fact that, like I said, they're juxtaposing Raphael and Hun. They're similar in a way. Hun is more he's more lighthearted, and like he's not there to make fun of people. He even makes the statement to Raph, you know, why you always got to poke fun at me and stuff like that. But I think a lot of the character work here is still really great. So Raphael kind of wakes up in like this chicken plucking factory, which is funny in and of itself. Just digging the humor all the way around. And then after some failed attempts by Raph, like he is threatening everybody, even though he is tied up, we have Kitsune, the leader of the Purple Dragons. She walks into the factory and they're all scared of her. And essentially, I love this little exchange between these two characters, because when Raph looks at her, he just automatically assumes she's no threat. But then, like, the way she talks, she gives off like this little gravitas, and he just immediately just cowers, and it's just perfect. But during this whole kind of sequence, he sees the Mechazoid in the rafters above, and he is trying to tell them, hey, let me out. We have a Mechazoid that's here. We're going to have to fight, and you're going to need my help. And they refuse to do it. They end up wanting to like sell him off to the highest bidder. And he starts cracking like chicken related jokes, and they're like just terrible, just dad jokes. I don't know if they all hit for me, but I thought it was fine. It kind of added some levity to that little sequence. And it also kind of brought out a different side of him, as he was kind of remembering what his other brothers, Michelangelo in particular, would do in like situations like this. So it is nice to see Raph kind of look at his brothers and kind of learn from them and see how they get through tough situations, which again kind of adds to that great character development. But I will say that on the flip side of that, it is probably a little bit more subtle in this episode with the character development. And in regard, especially episode 2, where it was like really just thrown in your face of what they were trying to do with him. But yeah, I thought all of this was great. Eventually, the Mechazoid bursts into the factory, tries to kill Raphael. Raphael breaks free, and they all end up fighting the Mechazoid together. And then he eventually takes out the Mechazoid, and the Purple Dragons eventually let him go. And what's so funny is they let him go, but then he steals, what was her name, Angel's motorcycle, and he just takes off to go look for his brothers. So overall, guys, really, really loved this episode. And 3 episodes in, I think this is a really great Ninja Turtles animated series. I'm excited to continue with the rest of the season. We have one more episode with Donnie. It's going to be centered around him. So definitely interesting, because if I had to say, out of the 4 turtles that I feel like I know the least about in terms of what this series has given us, I think Donnie has just been kind of a background character between the Mutant Mayhem movie. And I get it, he's one of the 4 main characters in that movie, but I feel like the other 3 characters got a lot more screen time than Donnie did. So I'm hoping they kind of correct a lot of that with this particular episode. Still, animation looking great. Love the animation. Comedy is great. And just overall, guys, this series is really hitting and firing on all cylinders right now. But let me know down below what you thought about episode 3, and I'll catch y'all next time on another recap and review of episode 4. Latest.